Right, today I'm going to make the big red bash bread out of the camp oven, a cheese and bacon pull apart. Rightio, so there's 5 main ingredients. We're starting off with our bread flour. Basically I use 5 cups. I find my favourite bucket. So 5 cups of flour in the bucket, which will roughly give you about 1 kilo of flour weight. So then we come across to the bread improver, which you can buy from your local supermarket. This is an important ingredient. So I use 1 tablespoon of that. Then we come across to salt, very important. 2 tablespoons of salt. Another important one for softness is the oil, so I use about 3 tablespoons of oil. And then we come across to yeast. Now for roughly 1 kilo you want about 10 grams of yeast. These are 7 gram sachets, I just use 2, so it helps sort of speed up, especially in the colder weather. So we roughly use about 2 cups of water, and you can sort of add, give or take, just depends on the dough, sometimes weather related too. This is the dry yeast I put into the water. Make sure the water is at least lukewarm, not too hot, otherwise you'll kill the yeast. And then mix it and it just helps activate the yeast. Rightio, in our bucket, I'm going to add the improver. So just pour that straight in. Everything is rough weight. It don't have to be too accurate, just rough guesstimates, we're camping. Then in goes the salt, then in goes the oil. And the reason why we put oil, that gives you the softness to your bread. And then get your hands in. Rightio, what we're going to do now is try to knead the dough and develop a gluten window. So, and this takes a long time sometimes, so we just keep mixing and tearing. It's good to get 2 hands into it, but I'm holding this table down in case I flip it. So when kneading this, tear it right across the table. Like stretch it right out and really sort of push into it and roll it, keep rolling it back. If you can see right through it, that's when you start forming your window. But see how it's all cloudy? We want to develop that gluten so that becomes nice and clear, and I'll show you further on. See the gluten starting to form, and you got that nice clear window happening? That's what we're looking for. That's what traps those little bubbles and allows that bread to rise. Now we're going to flatten this bread out with the rolling pin, which I'm sure every campsite has a couple of these. So we want to make this at least about probably about 1 centimetre thick. So just place the camp oven near the fire just to get a bit of warmth in that camp oven. See, if you have a look, it's already starting to get air bubbles in the dough. That means the yeast is doing its job. So after we get this dough prepared, so it's probably about a good centimetre thick, nice and square, we just add as much cheese and as much bacon as you want and spread out evenly over, like so. So I've got a lovely coating, edit that one out, a bit of mould. It's obviously been in the fridge too long. Anyway. And then bacon. Now I usually prefer real bacon, but this is just diced bacon. It's so much easier sometimes. Sometimes I will cook it in the camp oven first, so you get a nicer taste of bacon. And this is just more convenient just to show everyone today. A lot of cheese and bacon, because these things will prove up to be quite large. There we go. So that's roughly about 400 grams of diced bacon. And now we're going to roll it like a Swiss roll. So you take the first layer over and just keep pushing your thumb in. See, always make it nice and even. Try not to stretch the dough as well, so you don't want to overstretch it. So you just get a nice, tight and firm fold on these bread until we get to the end, so make sure everything's all tucked in. If you've got bits on the side, chuck them in too, don't let them go to waste. And then if you've got a little bit of water, which I do in my bucket, just put a little bit of water on the end just to seal it. And there we have it. So what we need to do now is just make sure that pan or camp oven's got oil in it. And that's after it's been warmed too. So it's been warmed up by the fire. Now I'm just greasing up just so my bread does not stick, and when it proves, it just rises up the side without any restrictions. Right, now we're just going to chop this into sizes. Now what I want, at least about 2 fingers. If you've got small fingers, use 3. So mine are quite fat fingers, so I'm going to use 2 fingers and just evenly cut it out into little scrolls so they look like so. What we're doing now is we're going to put this in the camp oven. If you come and have a look here, just evenly disperse them all the way around. Sometimes it's good to have another camp oven, so if you've got any left over, you can put it in that too. Now all we do is close the lid and let it improve a bit and rise. It's important you don't put it too close to the fire. Always rotate it, always turn it probably every couple of minutes just so it evenly disperses the heat throughout the camp oven. Always make sure that you rotate this. You don't want to get it too hot because you don't want to kill off the yeast. So if it gets too warm, just keep checking on the temperature. So it just wants to be lukewarm. And if it's lukewarm, then that's fine, and just still keep rotating it around the fire. Now I've pulled it back just off. Now I want it at least to prove at least halfway up of that camp oven. Make sure we toast it up on top by putting some coals. Alrighty, now what we're waiting for is see a nice golden brown, so I've had coals on top, and then you want to see this shrunken in from the sides. That means she's nearly baked. So what we'll do is we'll have a look. I'll take this off. Be careful because you don't want any ash on top of your bread. If you've got a broom, it's good to sweep it off, but just be very careful. Oh, look at that. And see how it shrunk away from the sides? She's almost ready, but I'm going to put some more cheese on top because it's not a cheese and bacon pull apart without cheese. This is your BRB cheese and bacon bread. God. Cheers guys.